There we go on.
Mm-hmm. What's
We
good,
live.
family? How y'all doing? We live. I was give me a minute. You gotta
I'm
let the
like,
people.
you like this? You look on you like this.
I
Like we
just read the
live.
title.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, y'all know what it is. Welcome to the Doc and Unc Show, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Never one of them bangers. We've been doing our thing lately, man. And this is what the people asked for. Okay, the brother proves that the first Americans was Africans. Gonna let the brother get up here, man. He contacted Dr. Mayat, and he got a lot of zeal, and he coming. He gonna do what the scientists couldn't do. He gonna do what the conscious community couldn't do. He gonna prove to us that the first Americans was Africans. I've already looked at his material, and I'm gonna take care of that in real time, man. And I'm gonna tell you, the brother don't got no pseudo sources, though. I told Doc, I say, okay. I say
You
the
did
brother
say
got some real. I said, yeah, he got some real sources. I like that. I'm good. So she ain't get one of them wild ones, one of them TikTokians.
no. I was shocked though, Unc. I gotta be honest with you. When you said that, that was major. When you said the sources that he presented in his email, you said they weren't the flim flammy, no pseudo sources. You said he didn't come like that.
He ain't
You
come
know,
like that. He just
yeah.
he just got to get taught. That's all. And it's not a shot, but we've been doing this for a while. Let me go ahead and take my unk out so y'all know what side I'm on. So y'all don't think I'm going against some kind of African custom tradition and all that. Nah, man, we just doing what we gotta do, man. And I appreciate you, Doc. You know that playoff game on.
Yeah,
And
who's playing today? I know the Ravens play
Chiefs
tomorrow. I know we
playing.
play tomorrow. Who's
Yeah,
playing
but
today? The
The
Chiefs.
Chiefs is playing right now, and them refs over there cheating though, boy. They cheat.
It's payoffs. It's payoffs.
Playoffs,
people
man.
probably then slid them a couple of dollars on. You know how it go, man. Ref make
I be
these
hoping
these
not.
calls, make these calls.
I be
So I
hoping not, man.
yeah, slide them a couple of dollars, and then we play Buffalo tomorrow.
Yeah, that's gonna be real. We're gonna
Now
figure it out.
what you got happening? What you got happening? My father said he got us running over them. He said he said our offense is going to outdo their defense. What you think?
I'm not making no more calls. After last year, if you sat there with that AFC championship shirt on before the game, before the game, I'm like, what the hell you got on? You send me a picture. I was like, Doc, where's
You said Doc is too early.
It's too early,
You
man.
said it's too early. You had on it was an AFC champion. My mother bought
AFC
that for me.
champion.
Yeah,
Oh,
mommy went out and bought that for me. She was tearing the Raven store up.
Mom, stay
Shout out to
away
the
from the
Ravens.
store this year.
You said wait until they win.
Wait till they play the game. And this shirt's gonna be there.
Oh,
Hey Doc, so how you like our shows lately though? With Dave, like, man,
it's been
I
they've
rewatched
been
the interview
they've
that
been
we did
powerful.
with him. You know what I like about that? And I want to say this right now. I appreciate you. Right?
I
It was
appreciate
almost
you
like
too.
he was interviewing me and Dave. I like the way he did that.
Yeah, because
I
you it's
appreciate
a
you.
lot of the stuff I was trying to juxtapose the two of you, right?
Mhm,
Because a lot of the stuff that I knew that he was going to say, I already
mhm,
heard you say. You get what I'm saying? So
mhm.
I'm showing the
Yeah.
people like we have somebody in our community, right? And not even just somebody, we have persons, we have people in our community who are uttering these same ideas and concepts. But with black folks, the white man's ice is colder. So you got to hear from other people because we don't value, and that's another conversation we need to have on the black
Mhm.
community. And I know you all are probably going to get mad with me. She making a blanket statement about the black community. I'm just going to say this. I feel like, and I believe, not all, but some folks in the black community do not value black intellectualism. So not only do you have European people or scholars who don't value black intellectualism, right in our community, we don't value black intellects. You know what I mean? And I'm not
Mhm.
saying that that's every single body. I'm not saying that that's every single body, but it's enough of
Mhm.
us who really do not value black intellectualism. So I think really secretly, brother, we do view each other as intellectually inferior. I think that a lot of us view that. So when you say it has no weight, when I say something, it has no weight, it has no value. It has to come from white folks in order for it to have value. you know, and that's sad. You get what I'm saying? Shout out to brother. Oh my goodness, he goes by Ricky. He used to go by Ricky Ross on Facebook, but he goes by Rolls Royce or something. He tagged you in he tags you in a post
Yeah,
about
he
Dave.
in the chat now.
He in the chat. I don't know if he in the
Oh,
chat,
oh.
but he tagged us in
I
the
know. I
post.
read it.
Yeah,
seen
he
it.
tagged us in the post, you know, and he was like, you know, I'm glad that Professor Dave, you know, has now, you know, been exposed to our community, or our community has been exposed to him. But yeah, we don't value black intellectualism, black intellects, period. You see what I'm saying? So now I got we got a white dude on the platform saying the same damn thing you and I've been saying for over 10 years. And it was more, the sad part is it was more digestible. You get what I'm saying, to our people than hearing it from us. But anyway, family, before we get tonight's discussion started, thumb up the show, thumb it up, thumb it up, thumb it up. Also, family, share the show. Share the show if you're watching on Community of Skeptics or you're watching on Dr. Myers' platform. Share it, okay? Share the show, thumb up the show. Okay, let's get some more behinds in these virtual seats. All right, and lastly, family, make sure that you subscribe to both our platforms. If you're on my platform, head on over to Community of Skeptics. Subscribe to Community of Skeptics. All right, hit the notification bell so that whenever Ankh go live, you're notified. And if you're on Community of Skeptics, head on over to my channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that whenever I go live, you will be notified. Without further ado, we're going to bring on
hold
our
on
brother.
1 sec. Hey, Doc, my
What's
fault.
up?
Please do not forget about conscious ingenuity.
I got. Oh yeah, definitely.
And this episode, whenever you say episode on Community Skeptics, Pseudo Killers, is brought to you by
share your screen.
Conscious Ingenuity.
Share your screen.
I can't
share. Okay, don't worry about it. But it's brought to you
we'll
by
share it up
Conscious
in a minute.
Ingenuity. Ashe. So we're gonna bring up brother Aaron. Peace and love to you, brother Aaron. How are you, warrior?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Can't complain.
How you doing, brother Ankh?
How you doing, brother Aaron? Man, let me say this. I told Doc, I actually appreciate the sources. I thought it was gonna be some pseudo judo. You did not present pseudo judo.
Well, okay, I'm off to a good start then.
Yeah, you're off to a great start, but you're gonna dive off the cliff quick. But you there though. I'm not mad at you. We're gonna work through it for you.
Hey,
I appreciate you, brother. Go ahead, Doc.
Hey, brother Aaron, let me ask you this though. What made you reach out to me? Like, I just woke up one day and I had this long email from you, and I looked, and then first you sent a bunch of pictures, and then in another email it was a lot of text, and I was like, well, you wanted to state your position. So what moved you to reach out to me to have this conversation?
Yeah, well, I'm actually a big fan of the show. And, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me, and I appreciate your work. I respect both of you a lot. But when it came to the conversation on the, I believe it was the video where you were having a conversation with Professor Dave, I think the topic of indigenous Black people came up, and I think it was summarily dismissed as pseudo information. So I was just responding to that. Because I do believe there is some credible information that, scholars who are more qualified than me have already presented.
Okay. So you feel like it's a strong case for the presence of Africans in America. You're saying before Columbus, you're saying, before who we believe are the Native Americans, before all of that, you're saying it was African. So let me ask you this. Do you take the position of David Imhotep? And peace be upon his soul. I think he transitioned some years ago, but David Imhotep wrote an entire book on the first Americans were Africans. You also had, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima wrote the book. They came before Columbus, and then he wrote another version, The African Presence in the Americas, something like that. So, do you take their position? Is that the scholarship? Is that the scholarship that you follow? Thank you. Is that the scholarship that you follow or that you subscribe to?
I definitely have drew from his work, and he's opened up.
Who's he? David Imhotep.
Yeah, okay. Dr. David Imhotep.
Okay, so you did draw from some of his work.
Yes, I definitely have studied his work. I don't agree with all of his conclusions, but I do agree with a lot of the information he put forward.
Okay, wonderful. Well, brother, you have the floor. Go ahead and lay out your position. We are all ears.
Okay. So I wrote, you know, down just a couple points, so you know, in note form. So hopefully that helps me express it in a more concise way. Okay, so my position is simple. The first inhabitants of America. Now I'm going to be very precise with my words. Phenotypically resemble indigenous Africans and indigenous Pacific Islanders, who are frequently referred to as Astro-Melanesians. I don't go as far as Dr. David M. Hotep, rest in peace, to say that they definitely came from Africa. It's possible, though. But I do know, based on the evidence, I won't say I know, but the evidence suggests that they phenotypically resembled Africans.
Well, let's
And
stop. Let's stop right there. Right. Let's stop right there.
Mhm.
They phenotypically resemble Africans. What is the phenotype of Africans? I'm just
There's
curious.
no one phenotype, but
So then,
the phenotype that I'm discussing now is subnasal prognathism, Platyrrhine noses, based on the reconstructions of the skulls from Paleo Americans, which are the ancient Americans. Um, I believe his name was Walter Neves, or I can't remember his name offhand. But Walter Neves, he did the craniofacial measurements, reconstructions, and he referred to him as Negroid. So I'm well aware that there's different phenotypes, but what I'll say for purposes of this conversation, the stereotypical features.
okay. So question, and then I'll just let you continue. The
Mhm.
stereotypical features of
Mhm.
African people, are those features only endemic to African people?
That's kind of a difficult question. Can you explain a little bit to me?
Like basically, do those features only belong to African people? You know, so you're saying that these people that you're talking about, and you said they in America during I guess the paleo times, right? You're saying that they phenotypically resembled Africans. So then my first question was, well, what is the phenotype of Africans? So then you say, okay, I'm aware that in Africa you have plenty of phenotypes, right? And then you said, well, I'm talking about the stereotypical phenotype of an African. So you're talking about thick lips, I guess, broad nose, right? Dark complexion. And I'm asking you, are those characteristics, are those features only endemic to African people? Are there other groups of people that may have a broad nose, thick lips, and darker skin?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So then how can we conclude that these were African people?
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they were African people. I'm saying that phenotypically resemble indigenous African people. So if you look at the people in areas such as Malaysia, you look at populations, indigenous populations in places like let's say the Philippines, Cambodia, etc. You know, some people might look at the phenotype and say that they're African, that they look like Africans, the stereotypical Africans. But at a genetic level, they're not Africans. They're not related. They group with Asians, so they're just as Asian as, let's say, Manny Pacquiao. Even though they might have a phenotype that people associate with African people, they're grouped genetically with Asians.
Okay, fair enough. Please continue, brother.
Okay, so I was saying that they phenotypically resemble Africans and the indigenous Pacific Islanders, also known as Astro-Melanesians. Okay, so uh, and if we look at some of the pictures that I sent you, Dr. Mahat, we have indigenous populations from the Philippines called the Mani people. The
Do you want me?
Malay,
Do you want me to share that right now?
yeah, if you can, or like I
Absolutely,
said, I can
absolutely.
just pull it up on
No,
my
absolutely. Which one do you want me to share, brother? Is it this one?
no, not that one. No,
It's not this one. Is it this one?
no.
This one?
Keep going back.
Keep going back.
Actual photographs.
Right here?
Yeah, we can start there.
Okay.
So these are the people who are called the Jirawa people, and they're actually Asian people. But like I said, people might look at them and They're from a region called the Ottoman Islands. So people might look at these people and say, just based on phenotype, these people are, African people.
Mm-hmm.
But genetically,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, they grew with Asians. So this is just an example of the, wide variety of phenotypes that you see in Asia. And I would put forth that these are the original people of Asia. These are the people who first immigrated out of Africa and settled in Asia. And you see, people who look like this, not only in Asia, you see them in Europe as well. If you go back far enough, as recently as 7,000 years ago, they did genetic studies. They extracted genetic material from skeletal remains in Spain and also Ireland and the UK, and they concluded that to quote the article that I read, that they were dark skinned, and they also did a facial reconstruction as well. They were black skinned people as recently as 7,000 years ago. So my position is that.
Well, I want to say this because you're showing this picture and you're saying that these people, someone would assume that they're African, but genetically they would be more Asian than African, right?
Mhm.
And so then I would think, that the Africans that did migrate out, then there was some sort of process, right? Like something happened. Like these aren't the Africans, because you said these were the Africans that migrated out. Then these would not be the Africans that migrated out, because as you just so eloquently stated, they would be really considered Asian as opposed to African, right? So these aren't the Africans that migrated out. They're maybe descendants of the Africans who migrated out with a mixture of, you get what I'm saying? These aren't the ones though. So that's, I just, are we clear on that or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
Can I add something? They're actually descendant of an Asian population.
Oh, okay.
It tell you, he said it. So we can't
he said these were the Africans who migrated out. That's what he said. And I'm like, these weren't the Africans that migrated out. If you're saying genetically they are Asian, you get what I'm saying?
No, their genetics take them back to Asia, which is fine. And you can't look at them. It's called lookership. And this is what's hard when scientists try to categorize humans or Homo sapiens or any when you try to put them in a certain classification. So when you look at this, you say, man, these indigenous continental Africans. The look say it is, right? But in actuality, it's not. It's like convergent evolution, where evolution will do the same thing here, do the same thing there. And just because it look like that doesn't mean that they're continental Africans, because they're absolutely not. And people will take this and confuse you and take your money and do a whole series on it. Yeah, see, the Africans was in North America. That's wrong. This is science does not say this. Science is clear on who these people are. Their overall genetics occurred in the area where they at, and they descend from an Asian population. So we never do the skin color thing. Europeans enslaved millions of Africans based off of their skin color. We never want to be them. Let those people be who they are. They are evolved to their area, right? And that's what they're supposed to look like. It's not a problem with it. They have been afforded the protection from Mother Nature. Simple as that. The harmful UVA rays, and that's why they look the way they look, and that's why the hair is where it is. It's not because they was in Africa in some kind of way, left Africa and got there fast to the area where they at. No, it took them thousands of years to get to their area. So there could be some retention there, right? And certain things, but yeah, we would never. So the problem is when we're trying to get this information, we do the lookership.
Okay,
somebody just said they didn't evolve. Somebody in the chat say they didn't evolve. Well, all living organisms evolve.
Absolutely, that's a fact.
Actually, not a living organism. You a Bible character or something.
Don't start. Hey, brother Aaron.
Yeah.
Any other pictures you want me to show, brother? Why I have the screen sharing?
Do you agree with that, or you disagree there, bro?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that, and I agree with the correction in language. With Dr. Mahat and what you were saying is exactly what I'm saying. They are, they are ultimately descended from the people who, traveled to Asia. I mean, if you go back far enough, everyone came from Africa, but genetically, there was genetic mutations that occurred. And, today their, genetic fingerprint would be in Asia. So I 100% agree with you.
Okay. All right. So you don't have so it don't sound like he had no disagreement.
Yeah, these are just more of the people who Europeans classified as Negritos. They're indigenous to Asia too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what you've proven? You've proven that the majority of Earth inhabitants are people of color.
Yep, absolutely.
But
What
there's a
about right
reason
here?
for that.
What
Oh,
about right
yeah.
here, brother?
That is another group classified as Negritos. They're indigenous to Asia. I think this is the Batek people in Malaysia.
Are they the Mani?
It might be the Mani or the
let me see.
Mani
Okay.
or the Batek people.
That's a Batek people. Yeah, that's a Batek. Always
Oh,
get their
and
name
these people were who? I don't know if we skipped over it or if you said it. Who are these people?
Now these are the Mani people from the Philippines.
Okay. 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 And what were you trying to show here? Let's go here.
Yeah, I was trying to, I should have put it in like a chronological order, but these are some of the indigenous people who were depicted by European travelers and artists who came. This is from South America. So these are some of the indigenous people from South America.
Okay. What part of South America? I'm just curious.
Tierra del Fuego.
Okay. What are you trying to show here, brother?
And that's a reconstruction of facial reconstruction of one of the skulls they found in Brazil. And this is
the Nia.
I'm sorry.
Is that the? Oh, okay. No, that's not the Nia. So I think that would be her, like a brother or father, or something like that. I think
it's like Apu. I can't pronounce the name. Apuino.
Mm-hmm.
But they said she, phenotypically resembles Lucia. So, they concluded that they were the same people.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And there's a couple of things. Same thing here, brother. What were you trying to show here?
Yeah, that's another depiction of a native from Tierra del Fuego. This is from the artist John Chapman.
Okay.
So you could see how when those first colonialists was running across these people, how they could immediately make mistakes with their eyes.
Yeah, absolutely.
We look at that. Oh, that's such and such. That's such and such. Yeah, we gotta be careful with the eyeball. The eyeball test is the worst thing because your eyes is one of the worst things you can use to try to do science on biology. Just looking at it. No, we use tools. We use DNA. We use reconstructions. We use a lot of different things. Use the tools of science to help our eyes in identifying, humans.
And it's one thing I do want to talk about. There's a couple of things, Brother Ankh, that he stated that I want us to build on. The first thing that you said, Aaron, is you mentioned the term Negroid. You said, oh, they did these facial reconstructions and figured out that, science deemed these people to be Negroid. Brother Ankh, could you talk about why that classification is problematic? To look at something and say it appears to be Negroid.
Because it's racist. What is a Negroid? They're saying he was black. That's an outdated term. They don't even use that in science no more. That the colonial powers did that. Black Negroid. That's what they called you. They called you Negroids. Negroid. And I mean, what do you mean by that? Are you saying that everybody that has brown skin color are Negroes? Is that what you're saying? What's the point? You can't do it because we can look like this, but our genetic signatures are totally different, and it fits us to a different environment. And so that's an outdated term. Science, I'm not gonna say 100% that science doesn't use it, but they're definitely trying to get rid of those terms. What I will say is that Negroid and all that, it's an outdated term. So you'd be hard pressed to find those terms in scientific articles. So interesting that you got some, don't you got some journal articles you was looking into?
But hold up, brother. Before we go to there, so brother Aaron, why did that was significant to you? Like, oh, you said that. You was like, they said this is, they were Negroid. Why was that so significant to you?
Oh no, I 100% agree with Brother Ankh. That's an antiquated term. The reason why I use that term is because that's how the anthropologists describe the skulls, specifically Lucia. They say Negroid, but that's the antiquated term.
And let's talk about Lucia, right? That was the second thing that I wanted to bring up, right? First it was Negroid, then it was the Lucia. A lot of people take Lucia, just they use that and say, "See, I told you it was black people in America." Is that your position? That because of the findings of Lucia, and then you said that someone that was in the same family, I think it was the picture we just showed a couple of minutes ago, you said was maybe like within the same family as her. You were saying, is that your evidence for saying that the first Americans were Africans?
No, not just that. There's been several studies. Several skeletal remains that were examined, and they reached the same conclusion that these people phenotypically resemble indigenous Africans and Austro-Melanesians. So whether you look at skeletal remains that were examined in Brazil, North America, Mexico, the oldest skeletal remains found in the Western Hemisphere, they pretty much have reached the same conclusion.
They're what?
That they phenotypically resemble indigenous Africans and indigenous Pacific Islanders.
He kind of changed his position on that. He made that mistake when he did the reconstruction. So that I think that article was maybe 12 years ago, 13 years ago. So we always talk about on the show what makes something outdated. The date doesn't make it outdated. It's the information that you find in the article make it outdated. And whenever we look at an article, that's fine. But then we want to see what the pushback is on the article. And the author himself kind of changed that as far as looking like African things. African. What I will tell you is that those Proto-Americans, right, they would have looked different from the Americans we find later on, 12,000 BCE coming this direction. And as the story goes, the record goes, that that next migration into Americas replaced that original population. They don't know if it was a war, a fight, or what it was, or they got absorbed into the genetics of them, but it definitely got replaced. And I don't know how that helps the case of people playing cowboys and Indians. I don't know how that helps them out, but populations get replaced all the time. This would not be the same thing that occurred in the Nile Valley. There is no evidence of a population replacement in the Nile Valley, but there is evidence of a population that there's a population that got there first, and then they got replaced by a later population. So and Nia is supposed to be part of that first wave that was there, and they had these features. But I would say that these features, any features that you see, are African features. We're all African savanna apes. The human population is an African species, Homo sapiens sapien, diversified in this environment. It's hard for people to really understand that and get that, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't know how how to tell people that, but I think what I like to always focus on is the culture. It's culture. Your eyes will lie to you. A person will look like you, but don't gotta be you. It's the culture we talking about, and that's why that conversation we had yesterday with Dr. Cologne. So important. It was so important because we was talking about African American culture there. We're not going to allow you to come in and usurp, take, don't give credit. That's not going down. Okay? So we know what African American culture is. We know what African American vernacular is. We know what it is. So if you ain't rapping in Spanish, then you gotta knock it off. If you rapping in Spanish and hip hop is in Spanish and all that and calypso, you got us. You got it. What you want me to do? But you James Browned up, you African American vernacular with the super swag, Bronx style. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to do that. We cherish our culture. I said all the time, I'm a proud African American. I'm a Black American. I use Black to make sure for political reasons. So there is no there's no mix up. I'm not a continental African. I'm none of that. We had to fight and figure out and make a culture in the Americas. When we got here, off the crumbs. We had to grow crops. One like they was like, yeah, here. No, we start to grow rice in Carolinas. It's those Africans put it over there. Matter of fact, we had a conversation. People was actually saying, I ain't gonna say their name. They was actually thinking that the enslaved Africans came to America and was standing in the middle of the field. What you want me to do, master? Want me move the brick? Okay, I will move the brick. What? Move that brick 2 inches. I will move the brick 2 inches. It's crazy. People think that when we was actually the artisans.
Absolutely. Right? The blacksmiths, the artisans. Absolutely.
Hold on.
The carpenters, whatever. You know what I mean?
Let's do this, Doc. Let's stop playing the game. Let's talk about what we can talk about for one moment. We are certain. We can read the article here. It says, show the screen, Doc. It's right here for you.
All right. Hold on.
I got a comment under one of our videos. One indigenous people. This says the America's first cowboys were enslaved Africans. Ancient cow DNA suggests. It say cattle may have been imported from Africa centuries earlier than historians thought. So I don't want to hear about the Native Americans from Mexico with the cowboy. Stop it. Right? They imported African herds to the Americas. Now, who could handle those herds? But the Africans that ran the herds. It's in the Journal of Science. We're not playing this game here. September 2023. Read the article. We're not going to get into this now. But I'm saying we have a rich history. We don't got to make nothing up. We don't have to make nothing up. We know some of the earliest cow herding you can find in Africa. We know those herds start in Southern Africa, in Central Africa, and move up to North Africa. That cattle culture. We talk about the cattle culture all the time. Okay, so when they snatched us, they also snatched pieces of our herds too. And who do you think ran those herds? Right? They had to hire the Africans because the Africans been running herds. So like I said, we got cities, right? Cities and states in Africa prior to colonialism.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That. So we weren't just over here. Yeah, no. That's why we say we're part of the foundation of what makes America America. It's all the stuff you build. We knew how to build it already. The great Zimbabwe, the walls, the whole nine. I mean, what did we?
We've already done it exactly because we've already already done it.
Correct.
We've already done it, and it's some serious work. I'm sitting here looking at the book right now, but I can't catch the author's name. I know she's affiliated with a university. Serious work about that. Serious work on that. But going back to you, Brother Aaron, what were you trying to suggest in this photo right here? What were you trying to suggest? Or what did you want to elaborate on?
Brother, I think Brother Ankh mentioned this. This was a skull they found in Mexico. It was called a Nea, I believe.
Yeah.
And they when they did the craniofacial reconstruction, it phenotypically resembled Lucia and the other early Paleo Americans who had the phenotype that I described as indigenous Africans or Austro-Melanesian. So it just falls in line with the consistency of the remains that they did, examine and how and the phenotype they possess.
Okay, I just feel like none of what you presented has convinced me that these people were African, like that the first Americans were Africans. It just, as Brother Ankh stated during the discussion, it seems like, yeah, you proved that the people were people of color. They had a darker hue, a brown hue to them, or a dark brown hue. But that doesn't signify, that they were African. You understand what I'm saying, brother? And a lot of times what we do is we see dark skin and we say African or wide nose or thick lips, and it's just African, or we just say black. But black people in America, but when you say black, what are you talking about? Are you saying a person of color? Now if you're saying that you define black as a person of color, okay, you know what I mean? But are you saying black as in the West and Central Africans, they were here prior to Columbus? Like, so I just don't see a strong case for this, like your position. So is there any other thing that you have that can show us, like, yes, these people were African? Because right now, what you've shown me is that these people were people of color. They were people of a brown hue or dark hue. They kind of look like us, but they could look like other people in Asia. Like, but I'm waiting for the.
I would say the other people in Asia I showed, they look like us. So, like I said, I was very precise with my language. Not that they came directly. I don't know if they came directly from Africa. My position is that they phenotypically look like indigenous Africans. And I think the more controversial point is I disagree with Brother Ankh when he says that these early Paleo Americans were totally replaced. I don't agree with that position. I think that
yeah, no, you're right. No, hold
why.
on. Yeah, I don't want to speak in absolutes, but yeah, they weren't totally replaced.
Okay.
No, I don't think they were. No, I agree. They wasn't, but they was just about.
Yeah.
But let's do this. Let's not have confusion. Let's not have confusion. There's some key evidence against the African origins of Nia. Okay, and she was an African. Genetic analysis absolutely confirms that she was part of the Paleo American population. Okay, and that Paleo American population descended from Siberian migrants that entered via the Bering Strait. All right. DNA extracted from her teeth. They took from her teeth and from her bones, compared to modern and ancient human genomes. Actually shows that she shared a genetic link to modern Native Americans, particularly through haplogroup D1. Okay, and a lineage exclusive to indigenous American populations. All right, I think that's very, very important, and it also supports the Beringer migration model, not an African origin model. That's Science of 2014. So you got the cranial morphology versus DNA evidence. Her skull shape is different from modern Native Americans, resembling, like you said, Austro-Malaysians and Southern Asian features. Okay, the cranial shape does not always indicate genetic ancestry. Let's say this again.
Say it again.
Okay, the cranial shape does not always indicate genetic ancestry, and her DNA confirms a Beringer origin. All right. This means that the early Americans likely had diverse physical traits, but still descended from the same Siberian population. No evidence of direct migration. This is what we're gonna need. We're gonna need evidence from direct African migrations. There is no genetic, archaeological, or anthropological evidence supporting direct African migration to the Americas before 20,000 years ago. All indigenous American groups studied so far trace their ancestry to East Eurasian populations who migrated via Beringer. So in our conclusion, at least for our show here today, Nia was not African, but she was an early Native American with genetic ties to Siberia, East Asian ancestry. And her discovery actually helps us confirm the Beringer migration hypothesis. We know what the scientific hypothesis is. Okay, as the primary route for the first Americans. All right, and that'll be my statement on that. If you have any evidence that could stop that, then we're here for that. And I
Yeah.
actually
Okay,
appreciate you coming.
so
Yeah,
I
before.
think we're. I'm sorry. I think we're in agreement. Just for that the first Americans were black or resemble black people. We'll just you just make it plain. I think the
Don't say
more
black. Don't
What do
say
you
black.
what do you mean by
Yeah, I
black?
ain't gonna let
Tell
you.
me
I ain't gonna let
yeah.
you trick me with that.
Define what you mean by they were black. Define that.
melanin pigmented, um, subnasal prognatism, broad nose. They resemble indigenous Africans, what I would describe as having tropically adapted features. So I think we're in agreement with that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep,
I don't think I think the more contentious part is where that fits into the history of Black America.
it don't. So we
So
got right here. This is
that's where I
called.
disagree. That's where I disagree.
Yeah, you got to get. Here you go. Look, dark skin. Dark skin is the type of human skin color that is rich in melanin pigments. People with dark skin are often referred to as black people, although this usage can be ambiguous. In some countries where it is also used to specifically refer to different ethnic groups or populations. Let's scroll down here. So we come right here. The global distribution of generally dark-skinned populations is strongly correlated with high ultraviolet radiation levels of the region inhabited by them. These populations, with the exception of indigenous Tasmanians, almost exclusively live near the equator in tropical areas with intense sunlight. Africa, Australia, Malaysia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, West Asia, okay, and the Americas. Studies into the non-African populations indicate dark skin is not necessarily a retention of pre-existing UVA adapted state of modern humans before the outer African migration, but may be in fact be later evolutionary adaptation to tropical rainforest regions due to mass migrations and increased mobility of people between geographical regions in recent past. Dark-skinned populations today are found all over the world, and this is backed up by modern human variation. O'Neill Dennis, skin color adaptation, human biological adaptation, skin color as adaptation. Okay, and Human Evolutionary Biology, Cambridge Press, page 192. So conversation has to meet the role at a certain point. We have to adhere to the rules and regulations of science, or we become pseudoscience. So it's a pseudoscientific statement to say that Africa's was in the Americas before such and such 20,000. That's not true. That cannot be validated. It can't be. And this is where the community is split. They don't have to be split.
Right.
Yeah,
We
and
should
I,
read
and
the
I
works
agree
of
with you on that.
Chaplin. Read the works of Chaplin and Debunking. She actually put together the first comprehensive theory on why humans have skin color. So we
Yeah, and
have
I
to
agree.
adhere to these rules.
I'm sorry, brother. I agree with you on that, but I think where we disagree is where that fits in, or possibly fits into modern day Black America. I think we disagree on that. I don't think.
Explain it.
Okay, so I'm saying that it needs to be researched the amount and degree of indigenous heritage Black Americans have. I don't think that should be summarily dismissed, because if we go back to it as recently as the colonial period,
Mhm.
when different explorers such as Giovanni Verrazzano, I
Mhm.
think I'm pronouncing his name, he went to the South Carolina, or not South Carolina, but to the Carolina region, and he
Mhm.
described the indigenous people as dark in color, not unlike the Ethiopians, with
Mhm.
thick black hair, not very long. So my
Mhm.
position is, what happened to those
Time period.
indigenous black people?
Time period.
When did
When
he
was this
go?
statement made?
1524.
And how long ago
So
was that? There was no comprehensive theory of evolution in 1534. There was no comprehensive scientific theory on skin color in 1534. No Charles Darwin work, none of that. You had the Greeks was trying to talk about it. You had Al-Jahid, who wrote a 7-volume set, the Book of Animals. He talked about evolution prior to that, but it wasn't a comprehensive theory yet. So they was doing the looker shit, bro. So I understand. I understand how you could look at the person and say, hey, boy, he's African. But we're not doing that in 2025. I refuse to do it.
But I think it's pertinent to our history as Black Americans, though, because that lookership that they used to do, that actually led to us being in chains. So I think it is relevant. And my position is that some of those native, Black, indigenous, native people who were still here, and there's various sources, eyewitness accounts of Black, indigenous people. Some of them possibly were reclassified as Negro, colored, and mulatto, and put into slavery and intermixed with Africans who were forcibly brought over here in the slave trade. Now, that's a question I had. Where does that fit into Black Americans?
You just did it. They did the mumble jumble, pseudo-scientific one-drop rule. I'm gonna look at your skin color and put you into the groups. I get it. It's unscientific. And unscientific ideas and concepts, no matter how much it degraded us, no matter how much it caused us to go into slavery, no matter how much pain and suffering it caused us, should not be integrated into African American history. We do not want to be the colonizers.
There we go. There we go.
That's a colonized idea. They, based off of pseudo-scientific lookership, Black, look at them. They start throwing people, they mischaracterize, classify. Now I'm saying in 2025, we don't do that. That's off limits. You become a pseudoscientist. You become a portrayer of misinformation and pseudoscience. I'm saying our history, I just showed you who the first cowboys was in America. That's spectacular. We don't got to make nothing up. We got it already. Our genres go around the world. Hip hop, it's around the world. People challenge, oh, that hip hop is Puerto Rican. No, it's African American. With Puerto Ricans part of it, but it's African American culture.
Right.
Hell, we showed the video from Kenya. They break doing the up rock. They were saying they went up. Then the guy get on there and start up rocking. This is in Africa. So nah, bro. Like that's a pseudoscientific thing.
Yeah, I agree. So do you, Dr. Ma and Bro, do you think it's possible that Native Americans during the colonial period, during the period of enslavement, who phenotypically, as we discussed before, resembled indigenous Africans, were reclassified and possibly intermixed with Africans brought over in the slave trade, and that is part of Black America's genetic and also not just genetic, in terms of cultural experience.
Let me say this, and I'll let take a stab at it. Me personally, like, are you familiar with DNA tests?
Yes.
Okay, and so I just think that if that did happen, right, like the enslaved Africans mixed with, the Native Americans, because that's what you're saying, right? You're saying that something happened where now I'm thinking, because it sounds like this video that Ankh sent me of Tariq saying the same thing.
Absolutely.
This ethnogenesis took place where and you had some the Africans that were already here, which are anyway, then they mix with the Black Americans here, and that's how you get and then you had the Native Americans, and they mixed it. If that was the case, it would show up in our DNA. I mean, like I took a DNA test, and when I took my DNA test, it said that I was like 95, 96 sub-Saharan African. I shared like 96% of my DNA was shared with sub-Saharan Africans, and I had maybe 2.2% European DNA, and then I think the rest was like 0.5% Native American. So I say all that to say, brother, that like the average African American does not share an abundance of DNA with Native Americans. I think Ankh, you gave me the average breakdown before, right? Like I think you said that. Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
find it. Let's get it.
Okay, yeah. Like so, if that were true, then it would show up in our DNA, right? Like I remember my father told me, I think your grandfather was Cherokee or Blackfoot. I think we got that in our family. And I was like,
Blackfoot.
really? Yeah, I think it was Blackfoot. You got that in your family. And I was like, really? And then I took the DNA test and it was like 0.5% Native American DNA, you know, the 96% sub-Saharan, 2% European. So that whole, a lot of us think that I got Native American, I got Indian in my family until you go take a DNA test and you see that the majority of your DNA is shared with sub-Saharan Africans, and then a significant portion of your DNA is European, right? Because of the rapes and you know what I mean, that occurred during chattel slavery, the rapes, the intermarriages, all of that stuff, right in your DNA, and then you may have a little bit of Native American DNA, and that's really like the average makeup of the African American.
Now, I want to pose this question to you. I'm not a geneticist, and I'm not versed in genetics. So, I would have to rely on other authorities. And I'm a fan of your show.
Okay, yeah, no doubt.
You interview a gentleman who's a geneticist.
Dr. Rick Kittles.
Yes. The good brother. I have a lot of respect for him. Now, he said the same thing that you said. He said the DNA of the average Black American does not show a substantial portion of, Native American blood.
He did say that.
Okay. So there was a 60-minute report on the accuracy and the validity of those DNA tests that they do.
Okay.
And from, I'm sorry, what's the doctor's name again?
Dr. Rick Kittles.
Dr. Rick Kittles. He was on that show, and he said that those DNA tests only capture less than 0.1% of your genetic profile. That's what he said out of his own mouth on a 60 minutes report. Okay. So my question as a layman to him would be, if it only captures less than 0.1%, how can we exclude Native American heritage? Because it's obviously just a small percent.
Ask me the question.
Okay, I'll ask you.
So as a science advocate, I advocate for science, I advocate for correctness in African American history. So even with the genetic test, that's only just one part of it. You have to have a history with it. There's archaeology. Okay, you like where is the record of this? Where the archaeological remains? Okay, where are the bones? Where are these things at? You got to have all that in play. Where's the migration patterns at? Where's the evidence of a migration? Don't tell me about a person jumping in a boat and disappearing, and you say the ships ended up in America. That's not good. We don't need to have that type of thing going on. And this has been the foundation of what we've been doing, right? The Musa, who was it who got in the ships? The Muslim that got in the sailed off in the great and in the river, in the ocean, and ended up in them. We're not doing that. So even with genetics, that you have to couple genetics with the history. So what African group that you know of, right, stated that you had got to go to West Africa? They definitely reached the golden age in West Africa. Where did they write this? Where did they do that? We got one account of them saying that they left with these ships. We don't know where the hell they went at. That's it. One account. Think about that. Out of 350,000 years of Homo sapien being in Africa, we got one account. How much stock you can put? Now, the account does not say where they went at. It just say they left.
That is true.
Now, let me say this, brother. Now, you said we have to have more evidence than genetics.
That's right. Absolutely. You sort of match them up, is what I'm saying.
Are you familiar with this book by Dr. Jack Forbes? Have you studied this book?
Yep, Jack Forbes. Yeah, he be messing it up. Forbes got to stop that. Forbes be having too much fun. You reading Jack Forbes, boy, you're in trouble for a minute.
I mean, I take his work seriously. He went through the rigorous process of earning a PhD. So now,
Jack, hold on.
in this book, he documents where Native Americans were systematically not just Native Americans, but people who had part Native American history were reclassified as Negro, colored, and mulatto when they started the whole census process, collecting information for the census process.
I can see white people messing it up. I'm not
And
opposed. I can see
too.
white people looking at some of those darker complected Native Americans and saying you Negroid or whatever the term may have been back then. I can see that happening. Yeah, I can see that. It's no dispute. It's no dispute there.
I'm sorry, brother.
Use that. We can't use that as a reason for acting like Africans was here prior to such and such. That's not a good reason that they messed up. That man, it was pseudo-science. I want you to know that's pseudo-scientific.
Oh yeah, we're in agreement there. We're in agreement there. But I'm saying that some of those dark-skinned Native Americans who typically resembled us.
What that mean?
That doesn't carry any weight.
That doesn't carry no weight. You got plenty people. I'm gonna make a grand statement here. Don't get mad at me, Doc. You say don't make that statement. I'm gonna make that statement.
Go ahead.
Right now, if you go to Ghana somewhere and see somebody say that look like Willie from my block, I'm saying that's not Willie from your block, and that's a mistake. That's what I'm saying.
I went to Cameroon, brother Ankh. I seen a guy that looked just like my Uncle Lucky. It wasn't my Uncle Lucky though. I'm being dead serious. I called my aunt them. I said, look, we got Uncle Lucky over here. He looked like my Uncle Lucky. Had his saying, he was dark skinned. He looked like my Uncle Lucky. But my Uncle Lucky, I said, my Uncle Lucky, he's dead and gone. You know what I mean? And he was dead and gone at the time. I said, oh, sure, I think I found Uncle Lucky again over here. You know what I mean? Like, so, so seeing somebody and saying this looks like that, that doesn't really carry a lot of weight, brother.
And not in the hall.
And that's what I'm talking about. When the Europeans classified people, they reclassified Native Americans or people with part Native American history as Negro, colored, and mulatto, and they were not allowed to claim their Native American history. And that's why I'm saying that's a part of the Black American story. And there are court cases documented in this work by Dr. Forbes, where he shows that Native American groups who phenotypically resemble indigenous Africans were reclassified and possibly intermixed with Africans brought over in the slave trade. So my point is that I don't think that should be summarily dismissed when Black Americans say we have indigenous heritage.
I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that nobody has, I'm not saying that at all that you don't have, but I'm not going to say that's the average African American.
No, we understand the genetics. We carry a small percentage of that. Now, if you want to celebrate 1%, 2% of your genome, I'm not mad at you, but don't act like that. The ethnogenesis occurred with real Native Americans. They were small communities that was mixed Africans from Africa with Native Americans.
Right.
That's the ethnogenesis. The ethnogenesis is not Africans from Africa mixing with an indigenous Black African tribes. It's all hogwash and very confusing and completely out of order. We have to stay scientific.
So you're saying
we have to stay scientific.
So you're saying during that reclassification process, there were no Black indigenous people still around?
No, there wasn't. There is no such thing as Black indigenous people.
There's no.
Listen. Based off your definition, what is your definition for indigenous Black people?
People who are indigenous to the Americas.
Coming from where?
All the North, South, all over the Americas, even the Caribbean, even in the Caribbean.
So you already admitted that this population come from Asia and went to the Bering Strait to get into America. You admitted that, am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we're not arguing that then.
No.
Right. So why make this statement then? Because we already agreed that they're actually a Beringer population, not an African population. So you just said the same thing that I said, that Africans from Africa enslaved, brought to the Americas, mixed with the Native American population. Some of them have brown skin, some of them not. We already said that's not the problem. The flim-flam is to act like those people are Africans that pre-Columbian. That's the thing your man Forbes said. That's what he got critiqued at. There's no Forbes has no evidence with that, right? So there is no strictly most of the statements he was making wasn't pseudoscientific, right? But it was speculative. He's speculating.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, speculative.
Okay.
He did a lot of speculating.
Yeah, and particularly regarding the pre-Columbian African presence. It lacks strong empirical backing. It's just simple as that. Like we now, if you want to be in the hood or somewhere and talk, yeah, all right, you can get that off, but you can't get that off around here. You can't get that off. I mean, nobody, and why should you? We in Africa at certain time periods. It's nice to explore Africa. You know how large Africa is? You know how much work we did in Africa for 350,000 years? Why America? See, that's the question. Let me ask you the question. Let me put you on the hot seat. Why was America important to indigenous Africans that they would have to dive into the ocean and get there? I'm asking you. Come on, it's always
the same reason why it was important for them to travel to Asia and other regions. They intellectually curious, just like today we have geniuses and high-level thinkers. They had the same thing in modern, in early human history as well. They even had boat technology dating back at least 130,000 years. So
you said again, what? You said what?
Boat technology. They were seafaring. At least 130,000 years.
I need that right now. Go bring that source. I didn't see that included in your stuff. Go get that seafarer. I know what a sea is and the ocean is. Go get that.
Okay. Okay. So
you talking about from Africa to Australia? What you talking about?
I'm talking about from Africa to the island of Crete. So they found stone tools on the island of Crete. And this was in an NBC News article.
No, you can't prove that. You're going to mess that up. You about to mess that up.
They found stone tools on the island of Crete. The island of Crete has been in islands for at least 5 million years.
You're going to mess it up. Want to put some money on it? Put $5 on. What you want to
do? Bring it up, brother Aaron. Bring it up.
Bring it up. I mean, make some kind of money. Anybody in the cash app, man, make some money off of it.
Go ahead, bring it up, brother Aaron. We right here, man.
I know what you're saying. You're reading the thing wrong. Ain't Homo sapiens say what you doing there, bro?
Okay. So let's say, and I read the article. I'm with you. It says Cretan tools point to 130,000-year-old sea travel. Okay, so let's say I think you're going to make the argument that they were hominids.
I'm reading. Okay. I'm not making an argument. Read the article. Don't change it.
Okay,
so don't make that. We're gonna read the article. That's how we doing these shows. Shoot, I ain't making no argument. Matter of fact, I ain't in the field. I won't read what they saying.
What's the name of the article? I'm gonna Google it and bring it up on the screen. What's the name of the article?
Cretan tools point to 130,000-year-old sea travel.
Cretan tools point to.
On that. What's the date on that paper, there, bro?
I heard this. That's the article you're talking about. Oh, you messing with Ankh and the tools. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, you're my favorite subject, bro. I already know you out of there.
Oh man, here we go. This is what he's talking about. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother. You got it.
Hey, Doc, put that in.
Aaron. I put it in the chat. Aaron, you got it, man. Go ahead. Go ahead. Talk about it. Read it, man. Go ahead.
Okay, you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead. This is your article. This is your source.
Okay. I'll just try to skip to the most relevant parts. They have found rough axes and other tools thought to be 130,000 and 700,000 years old, close to shelters on the island's south coast. Okay, so let me get down. This would upset the current view that human ancestors migrated to Europe from Africa by land alone. Okay, and they're quoting.
That right there. Say what? To say what? This would upset the what? That what?
Let me go back. Kind of skipped around. Okay. The results of the no. This would upset that would upset the current view that human ancestors migrated to Europe from Africa by land alone. Okay.
The human ancestors. We have any problems with that? Human ancestors of humans.
I got you. My point being,
No, you said, did you have evidence of Africans sailing the mighty seas at 130?
Early humans. So let's say they're hominoids. Okay, so
they early humans. I know what early human is. Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo naledi, Homo agastar, Homo ancestor. I know what they are, but they ain't Homo sapiens. So go ahead. You about to make the connection. Go ahead.
And I'm aware in the article they said that these tools are probably from the hominoid species before human sapiens. I mean, I'm not human. I'm sorry, Homo sapiens.
Find that part. Find that part for us. It's important.
Okay. I'll find that.
You're saying that's an article? Because I just perused it. I didn't see that part in the
article.
Yeah,
such rough stone implements are associated with Hebridge man, a Homo erectus, extinct precursors to modern human races. Right over top of the tool, the man holding it.
Yeah, right there, yeah.
Hebridgensis man, Homo erectus. I told you. Yeah.
So you were trying to use this article, Aaron, to say that Africans were traveling the seas at this time?
Yeah. No, I'm saying that boat technology was developed at that point.
No, okay, show us where they boat. Find that. Come on, this is how we do it, yo. Because you just admitted you're a novice, so we can't make nothing. We gotta trust what they saying, yo. It has to be a certain amount of trust, yo. And then we need to find a source of this. This is NBC News. They trying to sell papers. This ain't where is the source to this? This still coming.
So I mean, my point of bringing that up.
What was your point? Go ahead. I'm listening.
Is that so we're saying that's the precursor to modern humans, okay? Who sailed the creek. So I think it's reasonable to assume that modern humans, Homo sapiens, who are thinking men, would have been able to develop boat technology too.
Oh,
that's my point.
But they did develop boat technology, though. You got some of the oldest river boats in Nigeria, 8,000 years ago. They was fit for the environment. I bet you couldn't build a boat and not kill yourself in the Nile Valley right now. In the Nile River, it wear you out. Yeah, you just right now, if you took 10 people out of the audience and say, build a boat, your life depended on it, we be
stuck on.
We be stuck. We drowned. We be like, oh man. So what we learn in science is right. So I agree that those early hominids laid the foundation, but not the ocean. That won't happen for a few 100,000 years later. Right? You gotta learn how to traverse the rivers first, bro. You're not. If you ever been to the Pacific Ocean, the largest ocean on Earth, you're not doing it. You matter of fact, have you ever been across the ocean before?
Not by boat.
See, so you should take a trip, and you would come back off that trip and say, "I made a mistake." You would, because right now we got Africans just floating on wood, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, You know what I'm saying? It's ferocious, bro. Nature ain't no joke. Nature will kill you immediately.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Let me do this. Hold on.
Can I say something if you don't mind?
Yeah, please do. Please do, brother. You have the floor. Please do.
So now I'm not saying that, I have the study where she substantiated this, but this is what Dr. who's a bioanthropologist, Dr. Nito think her name is Guyden. I'm pronouncing that wrong. Dr. Nita Guyden. Okay, so her position is that the first people in Brazil traveled from West Africa as far back as 100,000 years ago. And her evidence comes from the presence of ancient fire and tools of human craftsmanship at habitation sites.
Put the article in there, yo.
Where's that? What is it? Is that a book or is that an
That'd be
article
cool.
you're reading?
This is from Dr. David M. Hotep's book.
Yeah, I'm discounting that.
Yeah, I'm not listening to David.
I'm not doing
no
that.
disrespect to him.
No,
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but
I'm
I
not
think
doing that.
Where did he get that from? Where's
you pull the source in the book. I think it's still something.
Okay, so what source did he use for that?
Okay, so he used an article called Paleo Indians, Paintings, and Paradoxes.
So he used an article about Paleo Indians
Crazy.
to say that
Not doing that.
to say that West Africans traveled to Brazil.
He's saying that's the position of this specific scholar.
Okay, what's the name of the article? Did you bring it up?
No, did you? I'm white. What is it?
What's the name of the article, sir?
It's called Paleo Indians, Paintings, and Paradoxes.
Paleo Indian Paintings and Paradoxes.
Mm-hmm.
Paradoxes.
Yeah, that Pacific Ocean, bro. That's ferocious, bro. Yeah, that's the most ferocious ocean on planet Earth.
Who's the author? Because I just Googled it. Who's the author?
Dr. Nita Guyden. Nieda.
Oh yeah, I came across Dr. I think I used to call it Netta.
You might be right.
Yeah, is let me see. I see them talking about the Paleo Indian period. His or her stuff is not coming up. Yeah, his or her stuff isn't coming up, brother.
Okay, all right.
What's the name? What's the name? Spell a name. Spell a name.
Okay. One second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's N-I.
Oh, N-I. Mm-hmm.
E-D-A G-U-I-D-O-N.
Nita Gilden.
Okay.
Gilden.
Yeah, Brazilian.
The Brazilian archaeologist famous for her work at the Serra de, which is Caveira National Park. All right, okay. And you were saying, she said, what which challenges the widely accepted clove first theory, which suggests humans arrived 130. My fault, man. 13,000 years ago. Key contributions. Okay, rock paintings, petroglyphs, 25,000 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Containing stone. And she's saying what? Gilding findings suggest earlier human occupation via possible Atlantic migration route from Africa, okay, or Europe. We got to throw that in there. She played a major role in getting Serra de Caveira designated as UNESCO World Heritage Site. We all know what UNESCO is.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. UNESCO Cairo Symposium. Controversies and challenges. I think this is important. Mainstream archaeologists dispute her findings, arguing that the tools and artifacts she found may not be human-made but naturally formed. The dating of the artifact is controversial, with some researchers claiming that the methods used to date them, thermoluminescence and radiocarbon dating, may not be reliable. Let me see. Political and financial struggles in Brazil have limited her ability to continue research. Conversation. None of y'all African Americans giving this lady money to finish what y'all talking about. None of the Indians, none of that. Man, send y'all money to that lady, man. Okay, despite the controversy, Gudin okay, has expanded her understanding of prehistoric human activity in South America. Her work has encouraged further research in pre-clove sites like with Monte Verde, Chile, all right, and Brazil. Okay, she has helped preserve one of the world's most important archaeological sites. Yeah, that's good, yo. So African Americans are taking this and running with it. That's crazy, man. Y'all, we gotta stop that, yo. Come on, yo, y'all, man. Come on, yo. You know what? We might need to have her on the show or something. And let me say this. I would like to say this. This is crucial to science. One person don't make this thing go. You have to take her findings, and it has to get tore down and scrutinized. Has to get falsified. That's the nature of science. What we do in this community, oh, look what she just said, and we'll run with it, and we will miseducate thousands upon thousands of African Americans. That to me is crazy. Science is a body of work. It's not one person. Science is not one person.
No, not at all.
Darwin's work is Darwin's work because as they tore it down, they found it to be.
Right? You break it. Yeah, you broke up. You broke up a little bit, Ankh, right there.
I said they could actually replicate Charles Darwin's work. Is still Charles Darwin's work today.
Okay.
Because it could be replicated. More information came. First of all, he made a scientific prediction, which is the highest in science. You predict something. He predicted that based off of some ancient apes in Africa, right, being the oldest than anywhere else on planet Earth, that they would be the progenitors of modern humans. He ain't found no ancient hominids. He hadn't found none of that. Guess what they found? They found the different hominids that would prove, right, that Homo sapiens came out of that different collection. So that proved that, yeah, Africa was the homeland. So it was Charles Darwin that predicted the out of Africa theory.
Wow.
You wouldn't even be saying the out of Africa theory without Charles Darwin. And people hate Charles Darwin in the African American community because they know not what they say. But yet they'll say that, yeah, but hold on, bro. Do you agree with human evolution? You agree with evolution, correct?
No, I don't have a problem with it. That's something I'm not well versed on, so I wouldn't be able to. I would say I agree with it. So I'm not well versed on that.
What? That's the problem. You starting at the end.
I'm talking about Homo sapiens. But I'm familiar with the hominoid species and everything.
No. But I'm saying you starting in the wrong place. You need to be able to qualify the things you're saying. You could do that through evolution. I say it all the time. People looked at me like I was crazy when I say, hey, man, when we talk about the Egyptian population, the population is a population of humans, right? Yeah, and humans are biological organisms, right? I say, so we got to look at the evolution of it. Oh, I know what you're talking about. And I'm going to bring an expert on that's going to talk about that, just for the record. Mm-hmm. So, yes, if it's biology and this is the organism, it evolves. So this is how we study the population of Egypt. Through evolution. So once you grasp that basic concept, right, you will understand that certain things, like you would understand skin color better. It wouldn't surprise you that closer to the equator you have people that are brown. Right, the equator goes around the planet.
Absolutely.
So to say what they were saying in the 40s and the 30s and the 1800s and the 1500s, you know that already don't make no sense. You would just know you would understand that. So like, go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Brother Aaron, and we can wrap up right here. Are you of the opinion that African people circumvented the globe? Do you subscribe to that idea that, African people circumvented the globe, meaning that we was everywhere? This planet is ours. We were everywhere.
Doc, crazy.
I would have to say, yeah.
Yeah, that's
it depends on when you say Africans. What do you mean?
People in the continental Africans in ancient times circumvented the globe. Do you subscribe to that notion?
I mean,
that claim, that idea that we was just everywhere. We're indigenous to the planet. This planet is ours. We was everywhere.
Well, yeah, we'll have to say yeah, because there's humans everywhere.
So because it was humans everywhere by default, that means it was Africans everywhere.
The early people who migrated from Africa, yeah, absolutely.
So you think we migrated out of Africa and went everywhere? Like when we left out of Africa, we went everywhere to every continent on this planet.
I won't necessarily leap that far and say every continent, but I'll say
A lot of them.
Europe. I'll say Asia. I'll say the Pacific Islands, and like I said, I'll say even the Americas.
Okay. And what proof do you have of that, brother?
I mean,
That's
basically what the out of Africa theory says, and the mitochondrial Eve and the DNA, that people had to migrate out of Africa into these regions, and eventually, I mean, there was genetic mutations that happened, but they definitely left Africa. I mean,
yeah, they did, but you said left Africa and went to all of the continents. I don't think that's what the out of Africa theory said.
No, I don't say that.
That they left that continent of Africa and then went to all the continents and populated the earth that way. I don't think that's what it says, brother.
Or maybe I'm not. Maybe I just need educated on that.
Okay, brother.
Well, it's simple. That humans left out, and you got a African population and a non-African population. So everything we talked about today was the non-African population. But just because I said non-African doesn't mean that they're not African. And this is where the confusion is. I'm going to say this again. Those indigenous people that inhabited Africa, they call them Africans. When the African left Africa, they call them non-African, based off of genetic mutations occurring, based off of different environmental changes as they left Africa. But just because I'm saying they're non-African doesn't mean they're not African, because the human population is 99.99 the same. They're all African, savanna apes, right? But the non-African population ran into what? Ancient human populations and mixed with them. Okay? This is what it is. So this whole conversation today was talking about a non-African population. There's no getting around that. Not unless they serving that baby globe. Not unless they got in a boat and went around and came back in a month or a year.
That's right.
Then you got me. You got me. But you don't have there's no empirical data. That's all speculative. They're the speculatists. They speculate.
So who are you saying that's what's confusing to me? Because I think we're really saying the same thing. But
no, we're not. No, we're not saying the same thing. No, we're not.
So you're saying that the people who traveled to Asia, they weren't African?
No, they was non-African.
When did they become non-African?
As soon as they stepped off of Africa and started to mutate. That's how they do it in the scientific community. Huh?
I mean, I agree with that.
So then they non-African, but non-African is not African. Let me see. Seriously, non-African don't mean you're not African. It just means you're non-African.
Aaron is like, man, brother Aaron like, y'all sound crazy. Aaron over here like, y'all sound crazy.
Look, we're African Americans mixed with non-African Europeans. See what I'm saying? But the Europeans are Africans because all humans are Africans.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Confused with that.
Oh man.
But I think we're saying the same thing.
No,
we're not. No, we're not.
I'm not gonna say Africans circumvented the globe and we was just everywhere and we was everywhere on every continent.
They mutated.
Nah. Okay, Africans who left out in waves, man. You know what I mean? They left out in waves, and like Brother Ankh said, they went to certain places, evolved, and some of those people went and then they went to certain places, and other people went. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't it wasn't a thing where Africans were right here. I mean, this is the center. And then they went here, and then the globe was populated by human beings. It didn't happen. Yeah, it didn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that I guess when you say circumnavigate, you mean in a
You would
relatively
have to
short
believe it.
period
You
of
said they came.
time.
You
You
said they
know,
came to the Americas, yo. You would have to believe they did that.
no, they might have came from the Pacific Islands. They might have came from across
No,
the
but
Bering
Tony,
Strait.
but the people, but the islands was inhabited by people from Asia, yo.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that.
Okay, so by the time they get to Asia, they mix with Homo denisovans and Homo naledi. It's in their DNA. Those islands hold a certain amount of archaic humans, and not to mention indigenous Africans was mixed with archaic humans prior to leaving Africa. So for anybody to try to play that game of, oh yeah, we are mixed, there's no such thing. Homo sapiens sapien is the mix.
Facts.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah, I do agree with you. I think it's yeah. I think we're saying. I think you're saying we're not saying the same thing, but we really are saying. I mean, I understand genetic mutations occur.
Right, so that's
having
the
less
difference.
than,
So
let's say,
this
reproduce.
conversation today was based off. We was having a conversation about non-Africans. All those people, the Native Americans are considered a non-African population, bro.
But he thought they were. I mean, he in all
You thought
fairness,
they
he
was
thought they were.
African. They was
He
not.
thought they
They
were
was not
African.
African.
They were
They
us.
wasn't.
They're black. They're this. And so hopefully, brother Aaron, you walked away, with some you walked away, with some information and some clarity, on some things and that you learned some things. But the bigger takeaway for me that I hope that you got was that we just can't look at people and give them an eyeball test, right? And say, because you look, or because you have these features, that means you are, we gotta dig a little deeper, and get out of those habits of, going around the world taking pictures of people and just saying because you have a certain phenotype, you must be, genetically related to us or you are us or, we got to get out of that, brother Aaron. So,
Yeah.
man, I appreciate you coming on the show. Appreciate you, man. And if you want to come back, come back. If you get some new information and you want to come back and say, Doc, Ankh, I got you guys. Here it is. Here's the dagger. My platform is yours. You're welcome to come back, brother. Okay.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank
Hey,
you.
appreciate you, brother. You take care.
Hey, keep hope alive.
All right, man. Take care. Man.
All right, man. Peace. Take care, brother. Take care. I dropped the link in the chat for anybody who wants to join the build. Brother Ankh and I got about another 30 minutes. If you want to hop on and make some comments, or if you want to state your case. Look, Ankh says it's football time. He ready to go play football. Uh-oh. Ditso is back. What's up, Ditso? What's up, Ditso?
Pura vida.
What's going
Pura
on with
vida.
you?
Ewa.
What's going on with you?
Look, this conversation, and unfortunately coming from a North American, it lacks so much. I put a link on the private chat, which can be used. This was a study published 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Asian DNA studies in pre-Columbian Mesoamerica, which includes my region of Costa Rica.
Teach.
Look, this is my area of expertise. I majored in anthropology, particularly indigenous studies in matters of Latin America as well as North America in that sense. One of my major fields of study was how was the Western Hemisphere inhabited? What was the movements of migrations? What is the anthropological evidence telling us? What were the splits happening between the different groups that were inhabiting all this continent from Argentina all the way to Canada or Alaska, and yes, plus Greenland, and all this particular area. This is what I focused on in that sense. I myself, I am from Afro-Indigenous heritage. I am from one of the 8 tribes here in Costa Rica, the Bribri, as well as of African descendancy of slavery. I am a rare mixture in my area, but I am one of those mixtures that did happen. So I have to dispute everything the prior guest said. I have to dispute it in the sense that it's illogical to categorize the people that were here pre-European as black,
Oh, go ahead, did so.
because were there indigenous with dark melanin and skin color with varying degrees of phenotype that when the Europeans arrived, they may say, oh, they look like Africans. Sure, there were. Why? One of the conditions of skin color has to do with either, and especially darker skin tones, has to do with neotropic and subtropic and tropical regions of the world. That's one of the particular requirements for darker skin. And when you go into more tropical regions, then the skin color tends to be darker because of the questions of the sun. That's just one. We can then talk about other elements of skin color. As you can see here on this particular map, the darker the skin, the more tropical location those individuals are. And this happened across the whole continent. So the problem with the United States-centric conversation is that it erases in the Western Hemisphere the identity of Native Americans from South, Central, and Caribbean. It arbitrarily imposes a colonialist perspective over the identity of those who were here before the Europeans. It willingly imposes a pseudo-imperialist approach, as if the only valid natives are the ones in the United States, as if the only valid African descendancy of slavery are the ones in the United States here in the Western Hemisphere. I'm not going to talk about Africa or any other place. I'm just focused here, from Argentina to Canada plus Caribbean.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so when we listen to that, and especially particularly after this last 200, 250 years of us becoming independent in the Western Hemisphere, and us having to say, fuck off to the Europeans, fuck off to the monarchies, we want to be free, and we did that in the last 200, 250 years. Of the last 500 and some odd years of history of invasion and etc.
Hey, watch your language, bro.
Thank you. Sorry.
Got the kids listening to it, man.
Yeah. So in that sense, when we became free, we faced the problem of saying, okay, who are we? And that's what we have been building for the past 200 years in Latin America, 248 years in the United States. But we cannot build that identity, or we cannot understand that identity under the basis of prejudice, xenophobia, and arbitrary pseudoscientific approaches. Thank you for letting me get that out of my chest.
No, I mean, what do you say? I mean, I feel like he basically was, recapitulated what you said, when you had the conversation. You can't say that. Yeah.
I think it's just impressive for a person with ancestry. He has the right to talk about his ancestry.
That's right.
He's just as proud of his ancestry as African Americans is. I think it's a travesty that African Americans need to codify who they are based off of robbing and stealing somebody else's ancestry. And I appreciate you showing empathy, because you could just be an asshole.
Yeah, you watch your language, you got some people.
I know. I want you to make sure you tell me.
You got the kids. You got the kids watching. You got the kids watching.
I want to get my one in. He got three in. So
but really, he did show empathy. He did. He really did show empathy,
brother. And and I applaud you for standing up for your ancestry
That's right.
and your study. So you said you studied. Well, you got a degree in what? What was you saying?
Well, my three majors are law, anthropology, and
Mm,
linguistics.
okay,
Beautiful.
so we're going to have to
Beautiful.
talk about that sometime.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, that's what
Beautiful.
I studied here. In fact, if I may, I'll share a little bit of my history. I was born in Costa Rica. My biological mother, due to the economic conditions she had, with four, I was the fifth kid. The four prior kids, she had to give me to adoption, and
Mm,
then the sister who was born a year and a half afterwards was also given to adoption. I was adopted by a Costa Rican woman and a Venezuelan father. That was very near to my ethnical heritage. So it wasn't worlds apart in the sense of my adoption. Uh, my father worked for diplomacy for a long time, and because of his work, since the age of 0 up to the age of 16, 17, I had lived in 6 different countries here in the Western Hemisphere. I had lived in Argentina. I had lived in Mexico. I had lived in, obviously, Costa Rica, Venezuela, then United States, then Ecuador. And well, my parents separated. We came back to Costa Rica. I did stay some time in Venezuela. I did live through the attempted coup of Hugo Chavez back in 92. I was 13, 12, 13 years old
Mhm.
when Chavez tried to do the second military coup against Carlos Andres Perez. So that was one of the major political things that marked me in the perspective. I lived through the fall of Venezuela, the Fourth Republic, and the creation of this whatever thing they call the Fifth Republic. Um, and my father worked for the OEAS. He was Venezuelan representative to the OEAS, the Organization of American States. There, I had the opportunity to meet people like Aristide. I met Bush father, Bush son, Bill Clinton. I met political figures, Carlos Andres Perez. I met Fidel Castro. I met Raúl Castro. I met Daniel Ortega, and so on. So that transformed my perspective of Latin American history and everything. And then as I grew up, I went into that field, and I also did through the Inter American or the Pan American Highway. I traveled through motorcycle from Alaska all the way down to Argentina,
Phew.
and then I did that took me a year and a half, and then I saved up for some more money, and I traveled all the islands from the lower Caribbean, from Saint Vincent and Grenadine, etc., all the way up to Cuba.
Okay. Damn. All right, did so. Thank you so much,
you wasn't
man.
playing.
Yeah, you
Appreciate you,
weren't
bro.
playing. Appreciate you, did so. You take care, brother.
Pura vida, Beshko
Yeah,
Woblaba.
What's
Beshko
what?
yeah, peace.
Woblaba
What that mean?
means, that's how my people say see you later, but it
Ah,
means literally, Beshko Woblaba means walk with your eyes open. That's how my people say see you later. Walk with
ah.
your eyes
Oh
Walk,
yeah,
open.
walk with your
oh
eyes
yeah.
open.
Beshko Woblaba.
Ah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
You
Thank you
saying
so
don't
much,
get
man.
scammed by the scammers. That's what you
That's what he
basically
said. That's
saying.
what
Do
Ditso
not get
saying. That's
scammed.
what Ditso saying.
Do not get scammed. The best
Gullah,
thing.
Gullah, you got the floor, brother. What are your thoughts about the bill tonight?
Oh, peace. That was pretty cool. I like the brothers got offered.
Ditso?
So that was pretty. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Kept a
like
lot. You
it.
know what I'm saying? To that
Yeah, I
brother. You
like
know what I'm
Ditso.
saying?
I like Ditso.
But yeah, but the dude that was breaking down the Native American history, even when he was saying like it was early paleo Americans, that's been debunked. It wasn't no wave, no early people that was here before that got overlapped. That's been debunked and thrown out. If you look at the Lucia article on Wikipedia, or look at the Fuegian article, they talk about it. Even the source comes from Nature magazine. It's only just one group that came in from the Burgundia at one time, all coming from like a Paleo East Asian population. So even Luzaya, you know what I'm saying, even herself, even though she had tropical, you know what I'm saying, tropical features, tropical selected, she still, her skull and everything still, you know what I'm saying, is related to East Asian populations. the Melanesian related stuff is from way back from like, you know what I'm saying? Like that come from like way back when like East Asians split from them groups a long time ago. There wasn't no second wave, third wave groups. These
Do
were
me a
all
favor.
East
Do me
Asian.
a favor, Gullah. Do me a favor. What's the name of the source you got? I disagree with you. What's the name of the source?
Mm-hmm.
I want to upgrade. What's the name of the source, bro?
Look up Luzaya, look up the Luzaya on Wiki, and look up Fuegians.
So,
Look up the Fuegians.
so you're
Fuegians
saying
break
the
it really good to break it down.
Paleo Americans have been debunked. That's what you're saying?
No,
Yeah,
he's saying
bro.
you were saying the idea of them being African, right, brother?
Nope.
No, the idea of it being
Uh-huh.
some Austronesian, Melanesian group coming before the people from Siberia, that's been debunked, bro. Like
Oh,
all
you're
them
saying
people,
that has been debunked.
that's
Okay.
been debunked. Yeah,
Yeah, what's the name of the
that's
article?
been
I know you
disproved.
know.
Look up Luzaya. Look up the Luzaya article on Wikipedia, and you can look
So
up.
you
the
saying she was African?
No,
No,
she
he
was
ain't saying that.
she was a subgroup of East Asian, the Paleo East Asians group. She wasn't on Melanesian, Austronesian type people. They wasn't that at all.
But the Paleo Americans is simply saying the pre-clove culture, bro.
Right.
I know that, but some people
That's what it is.
relate that to like a earlier group. Like look up the Fuegians. Look up the Fuegians article too.
No, you gotta have it. What's the name of it?
Fuegians.
The Fuegians.
It's on Wiki.
You don't got it?
Fuegians. Hold on, let me put it in the back check.
Yeah. It just say the Paleo Americans represent the earliest known humans in Americas and are the ancestors of modern indigenous groups. While their skeleton features suggest diverse genetic research confirms that they were part of the same migration wave that eventually gave rise to all Native Americans. Maybe they had a little more diversity in their genetics. You don't agree with that?
Gullah, you there, brother?
Yeah, he using his phone, so we're gonna,
Gullah, you there, Gullah?
He using his phone trying to do that. I don't know, Doc. What time we at? We
It
at
looked
2
like
hours.
it got. Yeah, we almost. I think I don't know. So Gullah, you're muted. I don't know what happened.
He looking for the source. He trying to get the source off his phone. He on his phone.
All right. Well, look, all right. Yeah, we almost at the 2 hour mark. We'll let everybody go, brother Ankh. You got any closing words, brother Ankh, for the listening audience? I know you want to get back to watching the daggone playoffs. That's what you want to get back. You want to get in front of the TV.
No, not necessarily. I wanted to keep, we keep our shows at 2 hours. Be strict about that. That's fine.
I said an hour and a half.
Yeah, I know we over
minutes.
time.
I just kind of let it. Yeah, I just kind of let it go. But any closing words, brother Ankh?
No, I appreciate the conversation, and it's just some work the brother gonna have to get. But he's still putting together those old racist tropes, though.
Yeah.
And he's still throwing it out there. So he just got to take his time and study and just, it is what it is. They were not African in the sense of Africans that didn't leave the continent. They wasn't them.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I think that's a whole nother situation, and we need to respect that situation. Because that's a serious situation.
Yeah, absolutely, brother Ankh. And I just want Black folks to stop, as you would say, with the lookership. They look like this, so it must be that. You know what I mean, brother Ankh? And then just using the term Black. They just lump everybody in and say, because you have darker hue, because your hair is coily, you're black. Everybody's black. And that's not true. Yeah, it's not true. And I think that at the end of the day, we need to be, we need to respect other people's culture, other people's culture, other people's culture, other people's history, and like you said, let them have that, and so, in one breath, we're like, we need to safeguard our culture. Hip hop is an African-American cultural invention. But in the next breath, we run around talking about we are the Native Americans, and so it actually offends them. I had a conversation with somebody from Mesoamerica a while ago, and they were pissed. This was like years ago on IG, and the guy was pissed. He was like, y'all are trying to steal our history. Y'all are trying to steal our culture. That's not y'all, And so anyway, I say all that to say that we really, really need to be careful, painting everybody with that broad brush black. You know, just because you have, you know, some color, you know, your brown hue or, you know, dark brown hue, that doesn't make you us or black. You know, you black. No. And we need to get, you know, we need to understand and learn about understand, learn, and respect other people's culture. But that's all I had, brother Ankh. I'll be back live again, family, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday to have a conversation about culture. Brother Ankh, go ahead back to the television. You know, I'll be watching hopefully the Ravens win tomorrow. I am rooting. I would like to see us in, I would like to see us in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm not gonna dive out the window though. I think they stand a good chance of winning though. It's gonna be cold. And I think the King Henry gonna bring us through, man. I just think King Henry gonna do his thing.
Think Henry gonna do his thing?
Yeah, I think he gonna do. I think because it's the amount of hunger that's going on. They hungry. They got, man. That was horrible last year, man. We was all purpled out on home. Yeah, and then walk away like this. That's the horrible, man. We was already going to the Super Bowl. We got to get the tickets.
We ain't go no day going where.
Yeah, where that picture at, Doc? You had that picture?
We ain't go. I'm getting ready to log off. I ain't talking about you got the picture. Talk about you got the
like this. I say
bye, Ankh. Peace and love, y'all. We out of here. Peace.